Beloved, listen carefully. This moment is not an accident. If you are hearing these words before October 7, heaven has already marked you for something divine. There are no coincidences in God's kingdom, only divine appointments. You did not stumble upon this message by chance. God led you here because He has something urgent to tell you. Before certain seasons shift, God always releases a word that separates the chosen from the crowd. He is calling you higher, inviting you to prepare, to awaken, to rise into what He has destined for you. Many people are walking through life unaware of the spiritual shifts happening around them, but you, yes, you are being awakened for a greater purpose. So, congratulations, you are chosen, you are seen, you are marked by heaven for a special move of God. Beloved, this moment you are in is not a coincidence. If you are hearing these words before October 7, you must understand, this is a divine appointment. Heaven itself has orchestrated your steps to bring you here right now. God does not work through random chance. Every moment, every delay, every stirring in your heart has led you to this very word. It is a sign that you are chosen, marked, and set apart for something extraordinary that God is about to unfold. You have not been forgotten. You have been handpicked for a season of awakening, for a divine encounter that will shift your destiny forever. When God chooses someone, He first calls them out of where they are. He begins by disturbing their comfort so that He can redirect their calling. Many people want to be used by God, but few are willing to leave the familiar. Yet that is where the journey of the chosen always begins. Think of Abraham, who was living peacefully when God suddenly told him, "Leave your country, your family, and your father's house, and go to the land I will show you." Abraham had no map, no guarantee, no explanation. But he had a word. He obeyed that word, and history was changed because one man trusted the voice of God more than the comfort of his surroundings. You may be in a similar moment. Something in your life feels uncertain, unfamiliar. Perhaps the things that used to satisfy you no longer do. Maybe certain doors are closing. People are walking away. Plans are collapsing. It may look like loss, but in truth, it's God's hand pushing you toward your purpose. He is moving you out of the old to make room for the new. Every shaking in your life is a signal that heaven is preparing you for a higher assignment. Don't resist the process, embrace it. Because when you are chosen, God will never leave you where He found you. But when God calls you higher, you will face battles that others do not. The chosen always face greater pressure because their purpose carries greater weight. Look at David. Long before he wore the crown, he faced lions, bears, and finally Goliath. The moment you are anointed, the enemy takes notice. Joseph was given a dream from God, but before that dream came true, he was betrayed, sold as a slave, and thrown into prison. The greater the destiny, the greater the warfare. So if your life feels like a battlefield, if you're wondering why you face so many storms while others seem to sail smoothly, remember, it's because you carry something precious inside you. The enemy doesn't waste his energy attacking people who are going nowhere. He attacks those who carry purpose, vision, and influence. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every unanswered question, they are not wasted. God is using them to strengthen you, to build your character, and to prepare you for what's ahead. You are not being destroyed, you are being developed. Just as a sword must go through fire before it becomes sharp, your spirit must go through trials before it becomes strong. You are not alone in your battles. Heaven fights for those who are chosen. And in this journey, you must learn to walk by faith, not by sight. When God chooses you, He does not hand you the full blueprint. He gives you one instruction at a time, and then He waits to see if you trust Him. Faith is the currency of heaven. Without it, you cannot move forward. There was a time when a young man of God stood before an empty field, holding nothing but a vision. He had no resources, no support, no certainty, only faith. Yet he began to pray, believing that what he could not see was already real in the spiritual realm. Years later, that same empty ground became a place of miracles, a home for thousands who would find hope. This is how faith works. It calls things that are not as though they already are. It looks beyond the visible and clings to the invisible promise. You may be in a situation right now that looks impossible. Your finances low, your dreams delayed, your prayers unanswered. But don't let your sight deceive you. The chosen must learn to trust even when they don't understand. Faith doesn't mean denying reality. It means choosing to believe that God's promise is greater than what your eyes can see. The power of faith can turn deserts into gardens, emptiness into abundance, and sorrow into songs of joy. But there is another reason God has chosen you: to be a light in a dark time. Look around the world today. Darkness is increasing. Confusion reigns, truth is twisted, fear grips nations, and many hearts have grown cold. Yet God never allows darkness to rise without lighting candles of hope. You are that candle. You are chosen not only to receive blessings, but to carry them into places where hope has died. Your kindness, your words, your prayers, your faith, they are the light that someone else desperately needs. Esther didn't realize that her beauty and her position were part of a divine strategy until her people were in danger. It was then she discovered that she had been chosen for such a time as this. In the same way, you are alive in this generation for a reason. God didn't make a mistake placing you here. You are His instrument, His messenger, His voice in a time of noise. When others speak fear, speak faith. When others lose hope, hold firm. When others curse the darkness, shine brighter. The world doesn't need more silence, it needs more light, and God has chosen you to carry it. And now, as we approach this prophetic moment before October 7, there is a divine urging for preparation. God never moves suddenly without first warning His people. Before the flood, Noah built the ark. Before the famine, Joseph stored the grain. Before the cross, Jesus prayed in the garden. Preparation is proof that you believe. It's not enough to say, "I trust God." You must align your life with what you expect Him to do. Clean your heart from bitterness. Forgive those who have hurt you. Let go of the weight that has kept you tied to the past. Spend time in prayer again, even if it feels awkward at first. Open your Bible, even if it's just a few verses a day. Reconnect with God's voice before the next season arrives. This is not a time to be distracted by the noise of the world. It's a time to be still, to listen, and to align your heart with heaven's rhythm. God is about to release fresh grace, new opportunities, and divine breakthroughs for those who are ready. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be available. The chosen are not the flawless, they are the willing. They are those who say, "Lord, here I am. Use me." So if you are hearing this message before October 7, know this, you are not hearing it by chance. Heaven has chosen you. God has marked your name for something beautiful, something powerful, something eternal. You are the answer to someone's prayer. You are the vessel of God's next move. You are part of His divine plan in this moment of history. Don't doubt it. Don't hide it. Rise up in faith and walk as the one God has called you to be. You may feel ordinary, but within you beats the heart of someone extraordinary. You may feel weak, but the power of God rests upon you. You may not see the full picture yet, but if you hold on, you will soon understand why you had to go through what you went through. The pain, the delay, the tears, they are birthing something greater. This is your moment to believe, to prepare to shine. God has chosen you, and that means no weapon formed against you will prosper. No storm can destroy you, and no failure can define you. Lift your head, lift your hands, and let your heart whisper in faith, "I am chosen." Congratulations, heaven has called your name. Beloved, if you are hearing this message right now, it is not by coincidence or chance. There are no accidents in the timing of God. When heaven wants to speak to you, it arranges every step, every delay, every encounter until you arrive at the right moment to hear the right word. If your eyes are seeing this and your heart is listening before October 7, know that heaven has written your name on its calendar. You have been chosen, set apart, and prepared for a divine moment that will shift your future. It does not matter what your past looks like, how many mistakes you have made, or how ordinary you think you are. God's eyes are upon you right now. He has marked you for a purpose far greater than you can imagine. And the very fact that you are hearing this word is proof that something new is about to begin in your life. When God chooses someone, He begins by awakening them. He disturbs the comfortable so He can comfort the disturbed. Many times before a great change comes, we feel unsettled inside. The things that used to satisfy us no longer do. The friends that used to bring joy suddenly fade away. The plans we made begin to fall apart, and we are left wondering, what is happening to me? But the truth is, heaven is stirring your spirit. The nest is being shaken because the eagle must learn to fly. God never allows you to remain in a place that limits your destiny. When you are chosen, He begins to call you away from familiar places, from relationships that keep you small, from habits that chain your potential. It might hurt, but it is holy. It might feel confusing, but it is divine direction. Every person God ever used had to walk through discomfort before destiny. Abraham had to leave his homeland. Moses had to leave the palace. Peter had to leave the nets. There is always a leaving before a lifting. The pain you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. You cannot carry divine purpose and still cling to the things that once kept you comfortable. God is calling you out so He can take you in, to to a higher place, a deeper walk, a stronger faith. If you are feeling restless in this season, it is a sign that heaven is calling your name. But remember, when you are chosen, you will face battles others don't. The moment David was anointed, he faced Goliath. The moment Joseph received his dream, betrayal followed. The moment Jesus was declared the Son of God, the wilderness awaited him. The chosen are always tested before they are trusted. Do not mistake your battle for abandonment. The fact that you are facing resistance is proof that there is something powerful inside you. The enemy only fights what he fears. If you feel like everything has come against you at once, your finances, your relationships, your peace, it is because the enemy sees what you are about to become. There is a refining in the fire. The gold does not lose its value because it goes through heat. In fact, the heat purifies it. You are being refined for greater glory. Every tear you have cried, every sleepless night, every time you wanted to give up, all of it has been building your strength. The chosen do not quit when it hurts. They keep walking because they know that their pain has purpose. You may not understand why things have happened the way they did, but one day you will look back and realize that every heartbreak, every delay, every disappointment was part of the process that made you ready for what God had already prepared. And in this process, faith becomes your anchor. The chosen cannot live by sight, because sight will always show you what is missing, but faith will show you what is coming. Faith is seeing the invisible, believing the impossible, and trusting the timing of heaven. Many people wait for signs before they believe, but faith believes before the signs appear. It was faith that made Abraham leave his home without knowing where he was going. It was faith that made Noah build an ark while everyone laughed. It was faith that made a young shepherd boy stand before a giant with nothing but a sling and a promise. If you want to walk in the destiny of the chosen, you must learn to walk by faith. Sometimes you will have nothing but a word from God, and that word will have to be enough. You might be looking at an empty bank account, but faith says, "My God shall supply all my needs." You might feel alone and forgotten, but faith says, "He will never leave me nor forsake me." You might not see how it will happen, but faith says, "It is already done." The natural world says, "Show me and I'll believe." But the chosen say, "I believe and I will see." Faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. It is choosing to trust God even when nothing makes sense. It is declaring His promises when everything around you contradicts them. Faith moves mountains because faith moves the heart of God. And when faith fills your heart, fear loses its grip. You begin to walk with confidence, not because you know the outcome, but because you know the one who holds it. Now, as you walk this journey of faith, you must understand why you were chosen. You were chosen to be light in a time of darkness. Look around, the world is covered with confusion, fear, and division. People are hungry for hope but do not know where to find it. That is why God has placed His light in you. You are not chosen just to survive, you are chosen to shine. You are the voice that brings comfort to the hurting, the hand that lifts the fallen, the heart that reflects the love of God. When Esther was brought into the palace, she didn't know her beauty and position were divine tools to save a nation. But when the moment came, she understood that she had been chosen for such a time as this. The same is true for you. You may not fully understand why God has placed you where you are, but there is a purpose for your presence. Someone needs your smile, your encouragement, your testimony, your prayer. You are the light that pierces someone else's darkness. You are the answer to someone's cry. As we move closer to October 7, there is a sense that heaven is shifting things. Seasons are changing. What was hidden will be revealed. What was delayed will be released. But God is calling His chosen ones to prepare. Preparation is the proof of expectation. You cannot say you are waiting for God and still live carelessly. Noah built the ark before the rain. Joseph stored food before the famine. Jesus prayed before the cross. When God is about to move, He first tells His people to get ready. So prepare your heart. Lay down bitterness, unforgiveness, and fear. Let go of the distractions that steal your focus. Return to prayer. Return to worship. Open the Word again. Reconnect with the presence of God. This is not a time to drift. It is a time to draw near. Something divine is about to happen, and God wants you ready. If you are hearing this before October 7, know that heaven has written your name in its plan. You are chosen not by chance, but by divine design. You are not forgotten, not invisible, not ordinary. You carry heaven's signature. You have been through battles, but they have not broken you. You have faced storms, but they have only revealed your strength. The same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives in you, and nothing can stand against what God has ordained for your life. So rise up, shake off the dust of disappointment, lift your eyes to heaven and declare, I am chosen. Say it until your heart believes it. Say it until fear fades. Say it until faith burns again. Because you are, and when the chosen finally recognize who they are, no power on earth or in hell can stop them from fulfilling what God has prepared. Congratulations! Heaven has chosen you and your new season has already begun. Beloved, if your eyes have found these words before October 7, I want you to pause and realize something sacred is happening. This is not an accident. You did not stumble upon this by luck or coincidence. Heaven orchestrated this very moment for you. The Spirit of God has drawn you here because there is a message your heart needs to hear. A message that could change the direction of your life. Every second, every delay, every circumstance has been leading you to this moment. This is a divine appointment. You are being called, chosen, and separated for something beyond what you have imagined. God's hand is reaching for you because your time has come. When heaven chooses someone, the first sign is not always glory, often it is disruption. When God begins to move in your life, things start to shift. What used to make sense suddenly becomes uncertain. What once satisfied your soul begins to lose its flavor. People you thought would always be with you begin to drift away. Plans you built with your own strength start to crumble. You may even feel like life is falling apart, but it is not. It is falling into place. God shakes the ground beneath you only to plant you deeper. He allows discomfort because He knows comfort can become a prison. You cannot carry a heavenly assignment while clinging to earthly attachments. Abraham was living peacefully when God said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's house." God never told him where he was going, only that there was a promise waiting. Imagine walking into the unknown, trusting only a voice you cannot see. That is what it means to be chosen. You may not understand where God is leading you, but you must believe that His plan is greater than your understanding. Every time He asks you to let go of something, it is because He wants to put something better in your hands. You cannot receive the new if you refuse to release the old. And yet, the moment you decide to follow God's calling, opposition will come. The chosen never walk an easy road. Before David ever wore the crown, he faced lions, bears, and finally, a giant. Before Joseph ever ruled Egypt, he was thrown into a pit and sold as a slave. Before Jesus began His ministry, He was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days. When God sets you apart, the enemy sets you as a target. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are a threat. The darkness recognizes the light inside you before you do. Do not be surprised by the battles you face. The storms you are enduring are not signs that God has abandoned you. They are signs that you are close to breakthrough. The devil does not fight the ordinary. He fights those who carry divine purpose. When pressure increases, it is because something precious is about to emerge. A diamond is just coal that refused to give up under pressure. The chosen are forged in the fire of adversity. Every trial, every disappointment, every closed door is training you to carry what is coming. The pain you are enduring is not your end. It is your preparation. You are not being buried, you are being planted. In these seasons of struggle, faith becomes your greatest weapon. Faith is not a vague belief that everything will somehow work out. Faith is the deep, unshakable conviction that even when you cannot see it, God is working. It is standing on invisible ground, trusting a word more than the world around you. Faith sees light when others only see darkness. Faith says, I may not know how, but I know who. There was once a man who stood on a barren field, holding a vision God gave him. The ground was dry, his resources empty, his supporters few. But he believed. Every day, he walked that land, praying, declaring, and thanking God for what was yet unseen. Years later, that same field became a place of miracles, filled with people whose lives were transformed. That is what faith can do. It takes emptiness and turns it into abundance. It takes hopeless situations and breathes life into them again. Maybe you are standing in your own barren field right now. Your finances stretched thin, your relationships strained, your dreams delayed. You look around and see nothing but emptiness. But do not give up. Faith is not the denial of reality. It is the declaration of divine truth in the midst of it. When God says you are chosen, He does not need your circumstances to agree. He only needs your heart to believe. Stop saying, I can't, and start saying, God can. Stop focusing on what is missing and start declaring what is coming. The moment your words align with heaven, miracles begin to move toward you. But remember this, being chosen is not just about receiving blessings, it is about becoming a blessing. The world is darker than ever before. Fear spreads faster than truth. People are lost, confused, angry, and broken. Yet in this darkness, God raises His lights, ordinary people with extraordinary faith. You are that light. You are the answer to someone's prayer, the carrier of someone's breakthrough, the reflection of God's love in someone's despair. You may think your presence doesn't matter, but it does. One smile can lift a heavy soul. One prayer can change a nation. One act of obedience can open the door for someone else's salvation. Esther never realized her position in the palace was part of God's strategy until her people were in danger. Only then did she understand that she had been chosen for such a time as this. The same is true for you. You are where you are, not by chance, but by divine purpose. Your workplace, your home, your city, these are your mission fields. You may never stand behind a pulpit, but your life preaches every day. Your faith is your testimony. Your endurance is your sermon. As we move toward October 7, something in the spiritual realm is shifting. This is not a date to fear. It is a moment to prepare. Throughout history, before God brought a great move, He always called His people to prepare. Before the flood, Noah built an ark when there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. Before the famine, Joseph stored grain in the years of plenty. Before the cross, Jesus withdrew to pray. Preparation is not a sign of fear. It is a sign of faith. It says, I believe something is coming and I want to be ready. So prepare your heart. Forgive those who wronged you, even if they never apologize. Release the bitterness that poisons your peace. Let go of guilt that keeps you tied to the past. Begin to pray again, even if you haven't prayed in months. Open the Word, even if it feels dry. Worship even when it hurts. God does not ask for perfection, He asks for willingness. When you take one step toward Him, He runs toward you with open arms. Something powerful happens when a chosen heart says yes to God. Heaven begins to respond. Doors open. Chains break. Strength returns. The presence of God fills what was once empty. You begin to walk with a quiet confidence, not because life is easy, but because you know who walks beside you. You start to recognize that every delay was protection, every rejection was redirection, every closed door was guidance. Nothing in your story is wasted. If you can hear this message before October 7, it is because heaven wanted to remind you, you are chosen. You are not forgotten, not invisible, not ordinary. You are marked by grace. You have survived what was meant to destroy you because there is still a purpose for your life. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives inside you, and it is awakening again. This is your moment to rise, to believe, to prepare, to shine. Lift your eyes, beloved. The night is almost over and the dawn is breaking. The pain you felt is about to make sense. The tears you've shed are about to water your harvest. You are stepping into a new season, one that your heart has longed for. God has chosen you, and no one, no circumstance, no enemy, no past mistake can unchoose what heaven has already declared. You are chosen. Walk in it, live it, for this is your time. Beloved, if your heart is listening to this message before October 7, it is because heaven has chosen this very moment to reach you. You might think you just happened to come across this message by chance, but there are no accidents in God's timing. He arranges everything perfectly. Even what looks like a delay in your life is divine orchestration. You are not here by coincidence. You are here by calling. Something deep within you has been stirring. And that stirring is not from this world. It is from the Spirit of God. You have been marked by heaven for a purpose that is about to unfold. Heaven is calling your name because God wants you to know you are chosen. You are seen. You are not forgotten. You are part of something greater than yourself. And the fact that you are hearing this before October 7 is a sign that your season of awakening has begun. When God chooses someone, He often begins with a whisper. It might be a quiet conviction, a restlessness, or an unexplainable desire for something more. You start to sense that life as it is cannot satisfy your spirit anymore. The things that used to excite you lose their meaning. The conversations you once enjoyed suddenly feel empty. That's because when heaven begins to move in your heart, the things of earth lose their hold. God begins to call you out of comfort, out of routine, out of the familiar. It can feel confusing, even painful, but it's not meant to destroy you. It's meant to draw you closer to destiny. Remember how Abraham was called. He was living a settled life when God spoke to him. Leave your country and go to the land I will show you. No map, no plan, just a promise. It took courage to walk into the unknown, but obedience unlocked his future. God's call always comes before clarity. He doesn't show you the full picture because He wants you to trust Him step by step. The chosen must learn to walk even when they cannot see. You might not understand what God is doing right now, but trust that His plan is bigger than your confusion. Every closed door, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer has been preparing you for something you cannot yet comprehend. You are not being pushed away, you are being positioned for purpose. But the journey of the chosen is not easy. The moment you are marked by God, you become a target of the enemy. Before David wore a crown, he faced Goliath. Before Joseph ruled Egypt, he faced betrayal, slavery, and prison. Before Jesus began His ministry, He faced temptation in the wilderness. Every destiny comes with a battle. And sometimes, the battles you face are proof that you are chosen. The enemy does not waste his energy on those who pose no threat. He fights the ones carrying divine purpose, the ones who can change the course of lives. So when you feel like the pressure is unbearable, remind yourself the greater the pressure, the greater the promise. Maybe you've been asking, why me, Lord? Why so many struggles? Why so many delays? But what if the struggle is shaping you? What if the pain is refining you? What if God is using the very thing that hurts you to prepare you for what He has destined you to do? Diamonds are created under pressure, gold is purified through fire, and faith is strengthened through storms. The chosen are not destroyed by hardship, they are defined by it. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every heartbreak has not been in vain. You are being molded into someone stronger, wiser, and more faithful. The pain you feel now will become the strength you need tomorrow. In moments of difficulty, faith becomes your anchor. Faith is not pretending everything is fine. It's believing that even when everything is falling apart, God is still in control. Faith does not mean you won't cry, but it means you'll keep walking even through your tears. It means you trust the hand of God even when you can't trace it. The chosen walk by faith, not by sight. They believe before they see. They declare before it happens. They stand firm even when the wind blows against them. There was once a young man who stood on an empty piece of land with a vision burning in his heart. He had no money, no resources, no support, just faith. Every day he prayed over that barren land, thanking God for what he could not yet see. People laughed, saying it was impossible, but he believed what God had whispered to his spirit more than what his eyes could see. Years later, that same ground became a place where thousands found hope, healing, and faith. That is the power of believing before you see. That is what happens when the chosen refuse to give up. Faith is the key that unlocks miracles. It is what turns delay into destiny. It gives strength to endure when logic says it's over. The Bible says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. That means every time you choose to trust Him, even when you're scared, you are pleasing His heart. So do not let fear dictate your steps. Fear will tell you to quit, but faith will tell you to keep walking. You don't have to understand everything. You just have to believe that God is good and that His promises never fail. But remember, being chosen is not just about personal blessing. It's about divine responsibility. When God blesses you, it's so you can become a blessing. You are not chosen to hide your light. You are chosen to shine it in a dark world. And we are living in a time when the world desperately needs light. Everywhere you look, people are afraid, broken, angry, and lost. But you, child of God, carry the light of heaven inside you. When others are overwhelmed by fear, you can speak faith. When others see hopelessness, you can bring hope. When others spread hate, you can show love. You are a living reflection of heaven's love on earth. Think of Esther. She was placed in the palace not for comfort, but for calling. When her people were in danger, she realized that she had been chosen for such a time as this. Maybe your job, your position, your voice, your story, they are all part of a divine plan to touch lives around you. There are people waiting for the light you carry. Your words can heal hearts. Your prayers can shift destinies. Your obedience can open doors for others. And now, as we approach October 7, the Spirit is whispering, prepare. Every great move of God begins with preparation. Noah built the ark before a single drop of rain fell. Joseph stored grain before the famine. Jesus prayed in the garden before the cross. Preparation is the evidence of faith. If you truly believe God is about to move, then start preparing your heart. Let go of bitterness. Forgive those who wronged you. Cleanse your spirit from fear and doubt. Return to prayer. Spend time in His Word. Worship not because you feel like it, but because your spirit needs it. The more you prepare, the more ready you will be to receive what is coming. God is raising a remnant, men and women who will not bow to fear, who will not compromise truth, who will stand boldly in faith. You are part of that remnant. You are not just an observer in this generation, you are a participant in God's plan. The anointing upon you is not random, it is strategic. Heaven has chosen you to carry His presence where others cannot. That is why you feel things deeply. That is why you see differently. That is why you cannot settle for mediocrity. Because your spirit knows you were made for more. If you hear this before October 7, rejoice. It means heaven has called your name. You are chosen, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. You are chosen, not because of what you have done, but because of what God is about to do through you. Do not compare your journey, just surrender. Say, Lord, here I am, use me. When the chosen finally say yes, the impossible becomes possible. Mountains move, chains break, miracles begin to flow. You have been called for this moment. You are chosen for this generation. This is your time. Rise up, believe again, and walk in the divine purpose for which you were created. If you are hearing this message before October 7, take a deep breath and let it sink in. God has chosen you. You are not here by coincidence. You did not stumble upon this word by chance. This is a divine appointment. Heaven has scheduled this moment to awaken something deep within you. You may not even realize it, but the Spirit of God has been quietly working behind the scenes in your life, aligning every step, every delay, every encounter to bring you to this moment of awakening. There are moments in life when time itself seems to pause, and this is one of them. The Lord is saying, I have called you, I have chosen you, and I am preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Many people live their entire lives unaware of the divine call hovering over them. They go through their days busy, distracted, chasing things that fade away, never realizing that heaven has written their name in its plans. But you, yes you, have been set apart. You are not ordinary. You were not created to just survive. You were designed to carry God's glory on earth. You may look at your life and see flaws, failures, and limitations, but God looks at you and sees purpose, potential, and destiny. He sees what others overlook. He calls you by your future, not by your past. Look at how God called Gideon. He was hiding in fear, threshing wheat in secret, when the angel appeared and called him, Mighty Warrior. Gideon couldn't believe it. He argued, saying he was weak and insignificant. But God saw what was inside him before Gideon ever saw it in himself, and that is exactly how God sees you. You might think you are too broken, too unworthy, too late, but heaven disagrees. God specializes in choosing the unlikely, the forgotten, the weak, because His strength is made perfect in weakness. When He calls you, He already knows your imperfections, but He also knows your potential. There comes a moment when being chosen by God means you must separate yourself from what used to define you. Sometimes the first step of calling is letting go of fear, doubt, unhealthy relationships, or habits that pull you away from His voice. When God begins to elevate you, He often starts by isolating you. Not because He wants to punish you, but because He wants to prepare you. In the silence, He reshapes your heart. In the waiting, He deepens your roots. You may look around and feel like nothing is happening, but inside you, everything is changing. God is building strength in secret places. He is forming character where no one can see. Consider Joseph. When his brothers betrayed him, when he was thrown into the pit and sold as a slave, it seemed like his dreams were destroyed. Yet in the unseen places of pain, God was positioning him for greatness. Every wrong turn, every disappointment, every betrayal was not the end. It was a bridge to destiny. By the time Joseph stood before Pharaoh, he realized that everything he endured was part of God's perfect plan. Sometimes what looks like rejection is actually redirection. Sometimes the valley is the passageway to the mountain. You may feel like you're in a season where nothing makes sense, but if you hold on, you will see that God never wastes a tear, never wastes a struggle. Every moment of pain is woven into the masterpiece of your calling. Faith is what keeps the chosen moving forward. Faith is not a feeling. It's a decision to trust when everything around you says otherwise. It's choosing to believe that God's promises are true even when your circumstances contradict them. Faith whispers, it's not over. When the world shouts, it's impossible. There is power in believing before you see. When God gives you a promise, He expects you to hold on to it even when the evidence fades. Think of Noah building the ark before there was any rain. People mocked him, called him foolish. Yet he kept building because he believed God's word more than people's opinions. That's what faith looks like. Obedience in the face of doubt. Maybe you are in a place where you've prayed for years, but nothing seems to change. You've sown seeds in tears, and all you see is barren ground. But the delay does not mean denial. Just because you haven't seen the harvest yet doesn't mean it isn't growing. God works in seasons, and sometimes the season of waiting is where He strengthens your faith. You may not realize it, but even now, God is aligning hearts, opening doors, and preparing opportunities that will suddenly appear when the time is right. The blessing is never late. It arrives exactly when you are ready to handle it. When you are chosen, your life is no longer just about you. God blesses you so that you can become a blessing to others. He lifts you up not for your comfort, but for your calling. There are people connected to your obedience. People who will be healed because you prayed, encouraged because you spoke, saved because you stood firm. Your yes to God could be the key that unlocks someone else's destiny. When you realize that, your perspective changes. You begin to see your life not as a series of random events, but as a divine mission. I remember hearing the story of a woman who lost everything: her job, her home, her sense of hope. She was angry at God, feeling abandoned. One night, in tears, she cried out, "Why me?" And in that still, quiet moment, she felt the Spirit whisper, "Because you will help others find me through your pain." That moment changed her. She began to serve others who were broken like her, and through that, her life became whole again. Sometimes God doesn't remove the storm, He teaches you how to walk on water through it. To be chosen is to walk a path that requires surrender. It's saying, "Lord, not my will, but yours be done." It's trusting Him when the road feels long, when prayers go unanswered, when friends walk away. It's realizing that even when you can't trace His hand, you can still trust His heart. Surrender is not giving up, it's giving over. It's handing the pen back to God and letting Him rewrite your story in ways more beautiful than you could imagine. And now, as October 7 draws near, something spiritual is shifting. Heaven is preparing to release a new wave of purpose and power upon those who are willing. You have been sensing it. You can feel that something is coming, something divine. This is your time to prepare your heart. Cleanse it of unbelief. Let go of bitterness. Forgive those who have wronged you. Return to prayer. Return to worship. Return to that first love that once set your heart on fire. God is not calling for perfection. He is calling for readiness. Those who are ready will see doors open that no man can shut. The world may be filled with fear, chaos, and confusion, but the chosen rise above it. They do not live by sight, they live by faith. They are not shaken by what they see because they know who holds their future. You are one of them. You are chosen to be a light in the darkness, to carry peace in the storm, to be a living testimony of God's faithfulness. This is not just another day, it's a divine moment. Heaven is calling your name, so lift your eyes, straighten your shoulders, let hope rise again. God has chosen you not to hide but to shine. He has anointed you not to shrink back, but to step forward. The same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives inside you. The same Spirit that hovered over the waters in creation now hovers over your life, ready to create something new. If you can hear this message before October 7, take it as a divine confirmation your time has come. You are chosen, you are called, and you are deeply loved. The world will soon see what God saw in you all along. Beloved, if you see this before October 7, know that heaven has identified you as part of His remnant, those who will carry His fire into the next season. You are not forgotten, not abandoned, not overlooked. You are handpicked by God for this moment. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. You carry the power to shift nations through your prayers, to change atmospheres through your worship, to bring healing through your love. Don't let fear silence you. Don't let delay discourage you. Lift your head, lift your hands and declare, "I am chosen," because indeed you are.